another warm night in downtown St. Louis, and it is the finale of a three-game set with the Atlanta Braves. The first two have not gone well because of names like Frank Coor and Chipper Jones and Brian McCann. The list goes on, and now welcome to our booth. I'm Joe Buck, Al Raboski alongside, and a couple of things. We'll talk about the Braves hitters in a second. Let's talk about the guy getting the ball tonight for the Cardinals. The definition of an ace is counting on somebody like Carpenter after the first two games of this set.
Stopping losing streaks and really regaining some respect from the Atlanta Braves. Carpenter has not had a lot of success against the Atlanta Braves, but he did defeat them earlier this year. It was the game where he had to endure a couple hours of rain delay, but he won that game, the ERA coming down. But they have some great bats, and they're swinging the bat very well.
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter who you pick. I mean, Andrew Jones had the big night last night. Chipper Jones has the hitting streak going. And whether it's McCann or anybody else in this lineup, not only are they getting hits, but everything they hit is centered and just ripped.
Well, and you know, they were saying that all the problems they had in June, they're due a streak like this. But the bottom line is the pitches have been very hittable. They're not on the corners. They're not down in the strike zone. They're sitting right in the middle of the plate, whether it's a fastball or a sinker that doesn't sink, or it's a humpback curveball that instead of 12-6 like we're going to see from Carpenter, it's just got a little rolling motion. Those pitchers are going to get crushed by major league hitters.
Well, the Cardinals count on Carpenter to be better than that tonight. When we come back, we will talk about and highlight two of the game's very best in center field, whether it's with the glove, the legs, or with the bat. Andrew Jones and Jim Edmonds as we continue before the Cards and Braves. How does that look to you out there, huh? All you amateur meteorologists looking at those absolutely purple black clouds out beyond the left field wall. The wind is shifted, and that is headed right at Busch Stadium. Our Ford Dealers key matchup. We talk about these two great center fielders, and Al, you'd love to have either one of them because they do it literally all.
Yeah, you can have an argument as to who's the best, and all we say is, why don't we just call them a tie? But you're right, two exceptional players.
Two exceptional players. Andrew Jones last night knocked in 6 runs. When we come back, we'll talk about this great Braves streak as we continue before the Cards and Braves on FSN Midwest. Look at this weather here in Busch Stadium, and look at these poor guys trying to get the tarp on the field. It is like and I don't want to get everybody all worked up. I don't want to use the T word, but the way the wind is blowing around down here, it is amazing that they're able to get that tarp on the field. It is blowing the flags and blowing the dust from the construction site just to the north of us all over the stadium. You look at the Atlanta Braves and what they have done in professional sports history. There's the Atlanta Braves, and then there's everybody else. There are 14 straight division titles starting in 1991. And then you look in the NBA, the Boston Celtics with 9 straight in the 50s and 60s. You go forward, the Colorado Avalanche, 9 straight division titles from 94 to 2003. And the Los Angeles Rams in pro football, 7 straight division titles from 73 to 79. Bobby Cox, it is a testimony to how great he has been as manager. John Schuerholz is the architect in this day and age of free agency and player movement to be able to win 14 straight. We will not start this game on. It is a minute or two after 9:20 when we were told we were going to play baseball, and that look by Tony La Russa says it all. Carpenter was told to be ready again at 9:20, and he's saying, come on, I've already warmed up twice. If you're going to tell me 9:20, I'm ready. Let's go. And so off we go. And again, what a great job done by the grounds crew here at Busch Stadium. Starting lineup for Bobby Cox, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. What a night last night for Andrew Jones. In front of him, Wilson Bedemet, Edgar Renteria, Chipper Jones. Then Andrew, who drove in 6 runs last night. McCann, Francoeur, LaRoche, Thorman, and Scheel is making his start. First major league start. He has been in the big leagues before, and he is called up to pitch for Atlanta. He's batting 9th. Facing that lineup is the Cardinals half of the Advanced Auto Parts pitching matchup, Chris Carpenter.
Well, Carpenter defeated the Atlanta Braves on July the 4th, pitched 5 innings in that game before rain interrupted the game for 2 hours and 55 minutes. So he allowed just 2 runs. That was the first time he's ever defeated the Braves. Now he's defeated every team in baseball, but the team that he plays for now, the St. Louis Cardinals, which he's never faced.
Tony La Russa hoping that by sending his ace out there tonight with this defense as we go around the horn, brought to you by Auto Tire, Duncan, Edmonds, Encarnacion, Roland, Eckstein, Luna, and Pujols, with Molina doing the catching. Bennett started last night. Carpenter on the mound, that the Cardinals can avoid a 3-game sweep against the hottest team in the National League, the Atlanta Braves. And Al, they are not just hot, they are scorching with what they are doing with the bats, and any issues they have with their pitching staff doesn't matter right now because they're just pounding everybody.
Well, that's it. Bobby Cox's troops, and last year they won the 14th consecutive division with many of these young guys, and many of them were making their major league debut. They got off to a slow start, had a horrible June, but in July they're the best hitting team in baseball.
What will the footing be like around home plate? And here we go. First pitch of the night, a base hit through the left side. A different night, same story. One pitch, a hit. Roland was in to guard against the bunt. It shot right by him.
Just outside, he just kind of goes with the pitch, and with Scott playing in on the grass, Bennett gets another base hit. Boy, you can go look at every one of these guys, and they just have unbelievable numbers in this series.
We came on the air talking about Chris Carpenter and what he's done in his career, 1-1 with a big ERA against Atlanta. He did beat them earlier this season. He checks on Bennett, the runner over at first, as Renteria is digging in at the plate. And we say this every time when there's a rain delay at the start. These starting pitchers, who are creatures of habit, trying to start the engines 2 times over, as Renteria bunts and almost falls on his face getting out of the batter's box. 1 out. Sacrifice is good. 5-3 with Roland throwing to Pujols, and the footing around home plate is going to be treacherous at best.
Just dropping down the bunt, and then he's in the starter's blocks, but slips and stumbles. Scott was going to throw him out either way, and he does his job as he advances the runner. Joe, you talk about creatures of habit and how tough it is when the starting pitcher warming up twice, one time in the normal start. And this game was about a minute from starting on time before the unbelievable wind came in, before the torrential rain. But we also know, like Carpenter was, like everybody else, is on his cell phone trying to reach his family, who probably was nearing the ballpark at the time of the storm and had trouble locating them. Just little additional things plays on players' minds.
Runner at second, 1 out. Breaking ball was a strength to Chipper Jones, who has an 18-game hitting streak. He grounds to Pujols. Everybody is tiptoeing right now, and Jones is out at first, 2 away. Bennett over at third. You can see it on the pickup by Pujols and him going to first, and the way Chipper Jones gets out of the box. He's got a bad foot anyway. And the way that these guys are digging in at home plate, it was a mess.
And Andrew Jones, who had 5 hits last night, five hits last night and 6 RBIs. He will stand in here.
Hey, I think I'm back.
Oh, we were there the whole time. We experienced this the other day.
Beautiful. Runner at third, 2 out. That first pitch, a ball outside, and they're making Carpenter button another button of his shirt. So whether it's mind games or whether that's actually bothering these hitters for the Atlanta Braves, the home plate umpire, Ed Rapuano, got out from behind home plate, made Carpenter button up another button. A 1-0 pitch is up and away to Andrew Jones, and Carpenter can be as careful as he wants. But he's got that young catcher, 22-year-old Brian McCann, on deck, who's hitting .351. Andrew Jones did not make an out last night, hit 2 home runs, drove in 6, and there's a good pitch from Carpenter.
Carpenter has 4 outstanding pitches. When you think about the curveball and that button, you see his time he throws a pitch, it kind of pops open. But outstanding curveball. He has a true cutter, change up, and then the 2 fastballs, 4-seam and 2-seam sinker.
2-1 pitch is hit to the left of Eckstein, and the Braves take a 1-0 lead. Carpenter is upset with either A, the pitch and location, or B, that Eckstein was tucked over into the hole so much, because that was a ground ball to the shortstop position. And I think Carpenter was shocked to turn around and see that Eckstein couldn't get close to it.
First thing, he misses location. You see that mighty swing. Watch the back leg collapse. And you know, if Eckstein even puts a glove on it, there's no way he can get out of the batter's box quickly. But he was in the hole, meaning he was towards the third base bag, and that ball was relatively straight away for a shortstop.
Just the look, and we'll give you an idea of where Eckstein was at the start of the play, not even in the picture. And Carpenter turned around and was shocked to see where Eckstein was playing and looked over back into the dugout as if to say, did you put him over there?
Yeah, well, but by the same token, Carpenter missed his location. That ball was supposed to be on the inner part of the plate. It drifted back over the middle of the plate, and he hit it up the middle.
So now it's McCann with Andrew Jones at first and 2 out, 1-0 Atlanta. There were only 2 innings, 2 half innings last night where the Braves didn't score. Breaking ball is in for a strike. It's 1-2 on McCann.
Ryan's got a 7-game hitting streak, and every one of those 7 have been a multi-hit game. That's how hot these guys have been.
Hitting .351 as the everyday catcher for the Atlanta Braves, and even that average is not good enough to lead major league catchers. You don't know the story with what's going on with Minnesota. Joe Mauer has been unbelievable this season. He's still a young player, and Mauer leads the major leagues in batting average at .376. 1-2 pitch is hit high in the air to right. Long run for Encarnacion. He is there, and he has it. A fair ball when it came down and was caught, and the inning is over. We go into the bottom of the first. 1-0. Braves on top. Jones is leading the league in RBIs now with 88 after driving in a run in the first inning with a 2-out hit against Carpenter. And now the Cardinal lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It'll be Eckstein, Duncan, and Pujols. Roland, Edmonds, and Encarnacion. Yadier Molina, Hector Luna, and Chris Carpenter is pitching and batting ninth. Here is Jason Scheel, who is the Rico pitching matchup from the Atlanta Braves.
Boy, this guy's gone full circle. He's selected by the Braves in the 48th round of the 1995 draft. Then he was involved in that Klesko, Brett Boone, Wally Joyner, Reggie Sanders trade in '99. Claimed off of waivers by the Red Sox. He did get to the big leagues with the Red Sox. He's making his first major league start, but he had 21 relief outings.
Behind him as he talks to Chipper Jones, this defense is we give you the auto tire around the horn.
He's missed 2 years. He missed 2004 and 2005. That defense, and Chipper with 13 errors, huh? Had Tommy John surgery, missed those 2 errors. He's in the independent league.
Pitching in the independent league and now starting for the Atlanta Braves, the hottest team in the National League. .313 average for Eckstein. He took a ball. Kind of a funky delivery from Scheel, and he has missed with the first 2-0.
Played with Jason Marquis in the minor league system, but they don't know much about him because he only had 3 games at AAA.
That's on the outside corner, 2-1.
They say he had the ability many years ago to keep the ball down, sinking fastball.
He misses barely again. It's 3-1. How about the night for this guy? Waiting around to make his first major league start, and he, along with the rest of us, waited 2 hours and 12 minutes for it to finally happen. That is a strike, and it's a full count. There hasn't been one pitch over the heart of the plate or toward the inside part of the plate to Eckstein yet.
Well, that's good indication of. They said he keeps the ball down and on both sides of the plate.
And Eckstein strikes out. He foul tips it into the glove of McCann. 1 out.
Pretty much throws strikes. Little breaking ball right there. David over the top of it. Nothing real fancy. He had 2 years we missed it. Tommy John's really almost stands straight up, erect, that stiff front leg. He is 29 years of age, so he's waited a long time for this first major league start.
So what's another 2 hours and 12 minutes?
That's right.
And as Al said earlier, here's Chris Duncan with 1 out, nobody on. We were literally a minute away from starting this game. That's foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carpenter had finished his warm-up tosses, as had Shield, by the way. And Carpenter was about to walk in from the bullpen. The grounds crew was preparing to pull the tarp on the field. The umpires were at home plate meeting, and then the storm blew through here so quickly that they barely had time to pull the tarp on, which has since ripped because of the high winds gusting through downtown St. Louis. 2-1 now on Duncan.
And once again, Bill Finley's crew did an outstanding and at times unbelievable job. They had as high as 92-mile-an-hour winds in this storm through the downtown area, and there were times where it looked like they weren't even going to get that tarp on, and yet they got it on in fine fashion.
Here is a 3-1 Duncan, full count. One difference from an earlier game where it rained and Albert Pujols slipped on that slick on-deck circle. The on-deck circle is gone, and now they just have a circle in the dirt. They don't want Pujols or anybody else breaking a leg coming for a foul ball. There's Duncan grounding out to the second baseman. And it's Bedeman making the play, 2 down, and here's Pujols with the bases empty. Albert will dig his way in, literally hitting .327 with 31 home runs and 83 RBIs. Again, it's Andrew Jones leading the league with 88. His 31 home runs ties him with Ryan Howard, the St. Louisan playing for the Phillies. And the average, everybody chasing Freddie Sanchez of the Pirates, who started the year as a bench player for Pittsburgh. Now he's the starter at third, and Joe Randa's on the bench. 1 ball, no strikes on Pujols.
And Joe Randa probably will be one of those guys that on the move at the deadline.
Yet again. It's kind of been his life in the big leagues.
As long as you end up in the big leagues, it's okay.
2-0 is the count on Albert. Shield is well aware of the caliber of player. He's pitching 2, and he's fallen behind 3-0. Rolling on deck. 81 degrees now, by the way, where it was in the high 90s when we were getting ready to start at 7. 3-0 to Pujols. 3-1. Guy physically looks like Jarrett Wright.
His face.
And it's Jason Shield issuing the 2-out walk. Scott Rowland will bat.
I don't think he necessarily minded that. He was going to try and get Albert to kind of go after a pitch, but hopefully Scott can do something here and maybe give Carpenter a lead before he takes the mound again.
That would involve Scott popping one. He's hit 14 home runs. He is batting .328. 1 point better than Pujols. And he takes a ball. Everything is away from Jason Shield here in the first inning.
The thing is, Joe, what he's doing is he's pitching, you know, he's keeping everything down. He's keeping everything off the plate, having them reach.
Again, and it's 2-0.
Where the Cardinals pitchers, first 2 games of this series, have thrown everything up and over the middle of the plate. And the Braves have made life miserable.
Top of the first, Bedeman got a base hit the other way, moved to second on a bunt, scored on a 2-out RBI hit by Andrew Jones. Here, Rowland can sit on a pitch, up on the count 2-0.
Braves have outscored the Cardinals 43-12 in the last 3 games they played. 15 home runs in 5 games this year.
Here's a 2-0. Rowland was going to swing at that. I think no matter what, he fouled it back. It's 2-1. 87-mile-an-hour pitch from Jason Shield.
I mean, it's not high octane, but if you keep the ball down, they hit it hard on the ground, be successful.
On 2-1, 3-1. I mean, you can almost take the middle part of the plate in and just forget about it until this guy proves that he is willing to come inside on some of these hitters. Here's a 3-1. And that misses down and away. Back-to-back walks. It's 2 on, 2 out. Now it's Edmonds. Hitting over 400 this season, as we showed you during the lineup portion, as he digs in with 2 on and 2 out against Shield. A long time ago, prior to what we thought was going to be the first pitch at 7:10, we talked about these two center fielders. Andrew Jones has done his part with a 2-out RBI hit. Now it's Jim Edmonds' chance with 2 on and 2 out.
Highlight both of them 8 Gold Gloves, both of them 300+ home runs. And recognized as the best center fielders in the National League.
Ooh, that's on the inside corner, according to Ed Rapuano. It's 0-2. Edmonds did not like the call.
Breaking ball and maybe even a cutter. Coming right in on Jim.
Edmonds set up at 0-2. Ball 1. That's as hard as Shield has thrown here in the first inning, 89.
Muscled up.
Guy who was
four-seamer.
Thrown about 2 complete games in the bullpen so far tonight. Now he's out there for real. 1-2 pitch to Jim Edmonds. Just outside. 2-2. Pretty good pitch from Shield.
Change up there that kept down and away.
Here's a 2-2. Edmonds is tied up, strikes out. Cardinals lead 2 and trail 1-0 as we go to the second inning on what will be a long night at the ballpark. Who's raising the bar? Tonight's Singular Wireless text message question is, how long will Chris Carpenter last in tonight's game? Under 5 innings, A. 6 innings, B. 7 innings, 8 innings, other. That would be a complete game or more. You can text your vote.
Or it could be 5.
It could be. You're a stickler for detail, Al. 42957 is how you text your vote. Stay tuned for results later in the game. Jeff Francoeur is at the plate. Born in Atlanta, Georgia, and waiting for the first delivery from Carpenter. Breaking ball is high, ball 1. RBI base hit with 2 out by Andrew Jones in the first, and now it's Francoeur with LaRoche and Thorman to follow. To the shortstop, Eckstein. 1 away. Talking to Tony La Russa before tonight's game about Eckstein, I just asked him the question, does Eckstein continue to surprise and impress you? And he said, the one thing I've learned about David Eckstein is that he's a good player. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, all too often, all anybody wants to talk about is that he works hard and he's in the overachiever category. The bottom line is the guy is a very good player. He works hard, yes, he hustles, but he's a talented athlete, and it shows by what he does day after day. Pujols takes it to the bag himself, 2 out.
Much more than just a scrappy ball player. Says he's exceptional on making the routine plays, and that is so important. You know, it's if you can make the routine plays, that is what a manager would rather have than the guy that makes a great play on occasion, but you can't count on him to make the routine.
It's the old 7th game of the World Series 9th inning question. You want it hit to Eckstein, and my answer would be if you could pick anybody you'd want it hit to, he would be the guy.
And because of, you know, he came here with a reputation of a very weak arm, but he has done exercises, he's strengthened that, and we never talk about the arm anymore.
Ground ball to Luna's right. That was an efficient 2nd inning for Chris Carpenter. Now let's get him some runs. The Braves go in order 1, 2, 3. Encarnacion, Molina, Luna coming up 1-0 Atlanta.
Some trouble now with their closer. Turnbow blew a save and ultimately lost that game to the Giants this afternoon.
How do you think Brad Lidge is going to do tonight with a 3-2 lead in the 9th inning at Chicago?
I think we're going to have a chance to find out.
3-2 Houston in the 9th inning, a matchup of Clemens and Maddox at the start of the night. And as Al said, 7-6. San Francisco came from behind to beat Turnbow and the Brewers.
It's had over 650 major league wins between those two.
2 300-game winners, and the 3rd time that those two guys have hooked up.
Yeah, but they didn't give us what the record was between them. It's that 3rd time. It didn't say, you know, one's 2-0.
Encarnacion is totally fooled and pops it up, but it's going to get back and out of play. How about the people that are in these seats
unbelievable.
as we start this game 2 hours and 12 minutes after we were supposed to, with one of the nastiest 2-hour storms to come through downtown St. Louis in quite a while. There's power and trees out and down everywhere, and yet this place is still packed. Encarnacion pops it up into shallow right for Betterman, 1 out.
Joe, and you know, many of them probably were on their way and got caught in the torrential downpour. Some of the accidents, or like you say, wondering what do they have power at home? What am I going to come into? But
that's one of the side benefits out of answering machine. You can call home
and find out
if it answers your phone for you. You got power. And if
so
not, don't go home.
To stay at the ballpark.
Here's Yadier Molina, 1 out, nobody on. Yadier up to 223, and Al, you've seen him a lot more than I have. He seems to be swinging the bat so much better than he was in April, May, and June.
He's worked hard at it. You know, he's starting to drive the ball, too. And there were times when, you know, he's just trying to feel for it, didn't want to strike out, and now he's letting it rip. All along, you know, he had a decent amount of RBIs. He's got 34. McCann's got 42, and he's been on an RBI tear of late.
He's hitting 350.
And he's hitting 350.
Well, this guy has not proven that he will pitch inside to any right-handed batter.
So Cardinals just get a little inch, a little closer to the plate.
He's behind on the count, 3-1 to Molina, and McCann sets up outside again. That one is on the inside corner, and Molina started to take a walk, and he's pulled back by strike 2.
One thing, if he's going to pitch predominantly, and remember that's what Leo Mazzoni always taught. Pitch away, 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 down and away. You know, you just think up the middle and to the opposite field.
That's on the outside corner, and Molina is wondering how big the plate is side to side. Called for strike 2 over the inside corner and called for strike 3 over the outside corner. 2 down. 3 strikeouts for Shield. And Luna will be the hitter. This Schnook's date in baseball history. 17-year-old pitcher Bob Feller makes his major league debut for the Indians back in 1936. With 2 out and nobody on, a strike 2 Hector Luna.
How well do you know Mr. Feller?
Pretty well. Pretty well only because he made his name with the Indians, and my dad grew up an Indians fan.
That's right.
That's a ball, one strike on Hector. I've obviously only known him over the last 20 years as Luna grounds back to Shield, who is through 2 shutout innings. We go to inning number 3 here in St. Louis. 1-0 Atlanta on another RBI by Andrew Jones.
It's 1-0, but earlier tonight you could see the rain just pouring in. The winds were tremendous in the downtown area, reached as high as 92 miles an hour. A lot of rain fell. The big tarp over the field was ripped. They had every piece of equipment they could to hold it down, and yet the winds still were able to get underneath it and lift some of that equipment and rip the tarp.
At one point, literally, the rain was pounding down, the tarp was ripping, and the wind got up underneath one of the tractors on the corner of the tarp and lifted it into the air. As Shield doesn't put up much of a fight. He's the first strikeout victim for Carpenter. And that's when you knew, I mean, the rain was coming right at us. And we showed you during our updates that some of those kiosks out beyond the wall in left center field, those temporary kiosks, were just destroyed out there. And there were 2 rows worth of water built up in the bleachers that somehow disappeared prior to 9:20 because fans are sitting out there.
Yeah. Well, lost one of our cameras. It was on an elevated deck and was blown over and destroyed. One of our temporary desks for our post-game show was blown over around the Musial statue from deck and a half high. And so a lot of areas, luckily no one was hurt.
Betterman is the second strikeout victim in a row for Carpenter, who is settling into a nice rhythm. He has retired the last 6, and this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. 2 out, nobody on, and Edgar Renteria steps in.
You know, a guy like Carpenter maybe got a little upset with the defense positioning on Andrew Jones's RBI single, but he's a guy that can stay focused and use that as motivation to say, okay, I'll take care of things. But here he is, an outstanding competitor.
He is in a spot now to strike out the side. I can't think of anybody who is more mentally ready or prepared every time he takes the ball to be the ace, to be the stopper in the rotation, and he is asked to stop a red-hot Atlanta lineup and get the Cardinals a much-needed victory. Here's his 0-2 to Renteria. He's throwing hard, obviously, 94, and that's ball 1.
Just off the plate, but a good 0-2 pitch. Either get a hitter to reach beyond the strike zone and get himself out, or hopefully get a call.
And that's even farther outside, 2-2.
There are times when Molina, and it seemed like it started when we were down in Atlanta, where he'll set up completely out of the, out of the catching box and into the other batter's circle.
Here is a foul that is out of the reach of Pujols. Still 2-2 on Renteria, to the point where some of the pitches, if the pitcher hits the target, are 1.5 to 2 feet outside.
And I mean, it's so blatantly away from him that it's really, not even have a purpose to the pitch. Now, he hadn't run it so much here with Carpenter, but he's done it with others. Didn't want the fastball in, didn't want the curveball, got the cutter.
And Renteria strikes out. Chris Carpenter strikes out the side. What rain delay? He's allowed to run on 2 hits. He got Shield. He got Betterman. And he got Edgar. Bottom of the 3rd. Carpenter will lead it off. 1-0 Atlanta. coming up, and the AT&T Summer Series is here to celebrate this historic rivalry. Visit att.stlcardinals.com to learn how the new AT&T is delivering the epic battle to you like never before. The new AT&T, your world delivered. Carpenter leads it off. He just got finished striking out the side, and he's up on the count here 2-0. Chris hitting .059. He does have an RBI so far this season. Shields got to lay one in there for him, and it's ball 3. 3-0. That would be a little invitation for trouble.
Yeah, struck out 3 and he's walked 2. Flirting with danger.
Carpenter will take 1, if not 2 pitches. 3 balls and a strike on Chris with Eckstein and Duncan to follow. Instead, he hacks on 3-1, fouls it, full count.
Jason Shield is shown through the minor leagues in 21 innings. He struck out 15 and walked only 3. He made 3 starts down there and averaged obviously 7 innings, 6, an 8, and a 7-inning stint.
He strikes out Carpenter looking. So he ran the count to 3-0 and comes back with 3 strikes. This portion of Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. Kia, the power to surprise. By Taco Bell, the new spicy chicken crunch wrap supreme at Taco Bell. Spicy Taco Bell tastes are good to go. And by Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. Hard to believe that Shield has struck out 4 while he has recorded 7 outs. Here's Eckstein, a strikeout victim his first time, and ball 1, down and away. Duncan on deck. Shield delivers, and Eckstein breaks his bat, dumps one into center, and Andrew Jones will play it on a bounce. 1 on, 1 out. Cardinals have their first hit of the night. Even a smile on Eckstein's face like he just got away with one. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here, introducing the FSN Final Score. Every great highlight, every unforgettable moment, every night on FSN. It's the only national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. The FSN Final Score tonight, 11:30 on FSN Midwest. 11:30 might be a little ambitious, but you never know.
Everybody swing at the first pitch. Get there.
Here's Duncan, grounded out his first time. Eckstein draws the throw.
Happy birthday to Audrey Cook Bailey. Turned 30 today. I met her sister and I guess boyfriend earlier tonight. I hope she has power so she can hear her message.
The first to Duncan is ripped into right field. That's a base hit. Eckstein will think about going to third. He'll test the arm of Francoeur. He's got a great arm and safe. First and third, 1 out.
It was a calculated risk, but one I think that's worth it with a wet track. That a lot of times you don't want to test Francoeur in that good arm, but because it's wet, he's not running straight in to get the ball. He's running to his left. He has to set and throw, and really didn't have as much on the throw as he would like, but you can see how strong it is. So here you go. Duncan gets that ball out there, and Eckstein presses the issue and comes up safe. Nice slide too.
And it sets up the opportunity for Albert. First and third, 1 out. First time around, Shield did not have to come after Pujols. He walked him. This time, for the most part, he has to come after the Cardinal MVP.
And has a sinker ball, so he still could induce a ground ball double play, or Albert could get a little closer to Andrew Jones in the RBI department.
0-2. Eckstein at third, Duncan on at first, and with a runner on third and less than 2 out, 9 of 19 times Pujols has driven home the run.
A little surprising, isn't it? Especially for somebody as hitting .457 with runners in scoring position.
0-2 the count from Shield. And Albert spoils the pitch. On deck is Roland. Cardinals trying to reward Chris Carpenter and give him something to work with. So far, the Cardinals have their first 2 hits of the game here in the 3rd inning. And Shield, who has Pujols set up, has struck out 4 for the Braves, who are on a tear. 4 games out in the wild card chase behind Cincinnati, and the Reds are losing at home to the Mets 4-3 in the 4th. It was raining there earlier. Again, the 0-2 pitch. Ball 1. Well, if you're going to wait around for 2 hours and 12 minutes to start a game, might as well win it and avoid the sweep.
Terry Pendleton was telling his troops, he said, okay, I know you're swinging hot bats, but today will be a test against Carpenter.
Not close. 2-2. Cardinals will embark on a long road trip. Cam's going to go out and talk. Cardinals will go to L.A. after an off day tomorrow. Be in L.A. for 3. You know what they just did to the Dodgers, sweeping them 4 games of that series right after the break. Then 3 games at Colorado and 4 games at Chicago.
Won't be home until next month.
Meanwhile, the Braves are in the midst of a long road trip, and they're off to Philadelphia after this game. It'll be an early morning arrival for them.
They have an off day tomorrow also.
A 2-2. Now it's a full count. It was 0-2. Will Shield give Pujols anything to hit here with Roland on deck?
Well, and send Duncan at first base. Albert doesn't strike out much.
Cardinals hit in their batting cage next to their clubhouse before the start of tonight's game because of the heat. That was a long time ago. 3-2 pitch to Pujols. And not close. Ball 4 to load him up with 1 down. And if Roland is watching in the on-deck circle, and you know he is, we talked about in the first 2 innings, Shield doesn't look like against the more dangerous right-handed hitters he's going to give them anything over the inside part of the plate.
Roger McDowell out to talk to him. I asked Roger, what do you know about Shield? And he goes, I know he's right-handed.
That's a start.
And he goes, I know what they told me, but I've never seen him.
And that's the case a lot of times. That's the case with Kenny, who came up for the Cardinals, the part of Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa. You have to go on reports and you have to go on recommendations. And this was the guy that got tapped on the shoulder to get the start here tonight against the reigning Cy Young Award winner, Chris Carpenter. He's in trouble here in the 3rd. Roland taps the bat on the plate, and we await the first from Shield. Bases loaded, 1 out. Way outside. There are the numbers for Scott with his 59 RBIs. 14 home runs. That's outside. 2-0. Eventually, he has to give one of these guys something to hit. And already up to 59 pitches on the night is Jason Shield.
The 4 strikeouts and the 3 walks, that'll get that pitch count up.
Rolen hits it in the air to center. Jones will play it. Should tie the game. Eckstein will tag in advance. Duncan tags and goes to third, and it's 1-1 here in the third. Rolen gets the RBI, but he wanted more than that with the bases loaded, 1 out on a 2-0 pitch.
Andrew does everything with a little bit of a flair.
Well, he didn't even look at that ball going into his glove.
No, what he did is he looked to see what Albert was doing. But to see where that throw was, right on the bag.
First and third, 2 out now for Edmonds. Edmonds is going to try and launch one out to right. Will it carry? Francoeur is back to wave goodbye. Edmonds pops one, and the Cardinals lead 4-1. There's the hit the Cardinals have been waiting for this entire series, and it's off the bat of Jim Edmonds.
Boy, Edmonds has just punished Atlanta Braves pitching this year. And good to see. Probably if there's anybody that you'd say, you know, you need to give a home run or 3-run home run to, it is Jim Edmonds. The ball up, out over the plate. They got him out inside, but he was ready for this one, and he jumped all over it.
Now Encarnacion hits one back up the middle, and action I would imagine will begin for Atlanta out in their pen. The Cardinals getting their better swings now against Shield. Second time through the lineup. Encarnacion's 1 for 2.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact you said, Joe, you know, these hitters go up there and they said it's almost a mistake if he throws anything inside to the right-handed batters. So a hitter can cut off one side of the plate and just look one side, they become that much more dangerous. And he's pitching behind in the count.
Check on Encarnacion as Molina steps in. Edmonds went deep last night. He goes deep tonight and has 14 on the year. Production numbers for Edmonds are getting better by the day.
Three for 7 in this series with 3 home runs.
And maybe the reports of his demise have been greatly exaggerated.
Hit 7 home runs in this month and also has 17 RBIs this month.
He is still a force and a guy that you know is on the radar of any pitching staff that has to deal with the Cardinals because of that ability to hit the ball with authority to any part of the park. When he first came to the Cardinals, he was as likely to hit a home run to left field as he was to pull one into right. That's not so much the case anymore, but we've seen 2 moonshots that he's driven out of here the past 2 games.
Well, I think he's still trying to, wants to go back and hit more home runs to left field. But if the ball's in the middle of the plate or on the inner half, now he's geared for that and turning on that pitch.
Last one 396 feet into right.
And a lot more teams are pitching him inside this year.
Action does start for Atlanta out in their pen. Here comes a 1-1 to Molina. Away, and it's 2-1.
Oscar Villarreal is the reliever warming up.
Pitched here last night. They got the start from Hudson, who turned in 5 very good innings, ran out of gas in the 6th. But it was plenty for the win the way the Braves were hitting the ball last night. Shield is bothered by Encarnacion over at first. Villarreal is getting loose. Shield is hoping he can get out of the third. It'll be Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, and Brian McCann for Atlanta next inning. 3-1. On deck is Luna. One on, two out. Molina goes after it, 3-2. Four runs are home. An RBI and a sac fly by Rowland after a hit by Eckstein. A ringing base hit to right by Duncan. A walk to Pujols loaded him up. Rowland took a 2-0 pitch, flied it to center for a sacrifice fly. And then Edmonds on the first pitch hit the 3-run shot to right. Runner goes, 3-2 pitch, and Molina swung at ball 4 and grounds to LaRoche. We go to the 4th inning. Cardinals get the blast that they've been waiting for, and it's Jim Edmonds who supplies it. 4-1 St. Louis as we go to the 4th on a rain-soaked night against Atlanta.
Back at St. Louis, it's 4-1 Cardinals on top. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski with you for innings 4, 5, and 6. Joe Buck shifts over to the radio side, and Mike Shannon is on vacation. You missed me, Al. I know you did.
Yes, I did.
Cardinals are winning. That's a good thing.
I had to get you a lead before you come in here. That's the temperamental thing about you.
You know how I am. As Chipper Jones lifts this one out to left center field. It's pretty well hit, and that ball is off the wall. Edmonds over to get it, plays it on one hop, and gets it back into the infield quickly. And Chipper Jones now with a 19-game hitting streak. And he's 1 for 2 on the night. And lo and behold, another extra base hit for Chipper.
Well, you know, Chipper looked like he either thought this was a home run, a breaking ball, catches it out there, but the way Jim Edmonds, a little nonchalant, almost caught him kind of coasting as Edmonds kind of pulled up, and you saw that it was couldn't have gotten to it, and it was only about a foot from going over the fence, but hoped that he could get the ball back in and maybe catch him in between first and second.
Snaps a string of 7 straight set down by Carpenter. Had problems in the first with a couple of base hits allowed and the RBI to Andruw Jones, who leads the league with 88.
Well, now you can kind of see the shift that they have on. They've got Luna, the second baseman, playing on the third base side of second, and David Eckstein in the hole. The first time when Andruw Jones got the RBI single, he hit the ball straight up where normal shortstop is. But with Eckstein playing over here and Luna, the second baseman, back there, he just hit the ball right over that circle out there where they put a little extra turfus, a drying agent out there, and it went through for an RBI single.
Al, you can see why the Cardinals would want to do this. Andruw Jones is trying to murder the ball every time it's up there. And you look at his back leg on the home runs last night, he collapses it. And it just looks like he's trying to yank everything out of the ballpark.
He hit 51 home runs last year to win the home run championship. But you're absolutely right. And we showed earlier that even on that single, it's that same massive swing where the back leg collapses. And obviously you can't get out of the batter's box on a play, an infield ball hit.
1-2 pitch by Carpenter. It's pulled foul by Andruw Jones. 1-2 is the count. Hits by direction, only 5 to right field for Jones.
Well, you got, for all intents and purposes, 3 infield on the left side.
Carpenter last inning struck out the side. And he's got 3 total on the night. This one lifted out to deep center field. Edmonds will back up and make the catch. A strong throw back into the infield.
Textbook. Absolutely textbook the way Jim Edmonds, an 8-time Gold Glove winner, set up for a fly ball with potentially a man might want to run. So you back up, then you get your momentum coming forward and a strong throw right over the top, right there to Eckstein. And that's how you play, or how you field a fly ball. And when you think, and you should always anticipate that a runner is going to try to advance, that's how you stop them.
Here's Brian McCann, who is flied to right. Just joining us, we had a rain delay, wind delay of 2 hours and 12 minutes. And our first pitch was at 9:22 here in St. Louis.
And that was some of the ugliest weather we've ever seen here. And you could just see it developing before the game started, and then wind for a considerable amount of time before the first raindrop ever fell.
I was up in the writers' press box when the majority of the press is at, outside of what we do here on this level. So they're at the top level of the stadium, and they do not have windows, but they do have what would be the equivalent almost of a tarp that comes down to try to protect the computers and the writers. All those were tore off, and they are still cleaning up the water on the front row of the press box. So most of the writers now are on the back level, and that's the tarp right there that I speak of. It tries to protect some of the equipment up there, but
it was hanging up here, right?
That's right. They're still cleaning it up.
Those riders are really messy.
Tonight they are. 2-0 is hammered to first. Pujols is there. And there's 2 outs. Best damn sports show period. The greatest nightly sports show on television. Normally we come your way nightly at 10:30. Not tonight. This is coming up on Friday night. Top 50 unforgettable plays in sports history. Friday, 10:30 on FSN. Here's Francoeur, who grounded to short his first time up. Pitch that went in on his hands. One hops to Pujols. He'll take it himself. And the Braves strand a runner. They strand Chipper Jones after his leadoff double. St. Louis leads it. It's 4-1. For tonight's Southwest Airlines 1971 throwback sweepstakes memory. The Equitable Building was built in 1971. Matter of fact, you can see it from the ballpark. Log on to southwest.com/STL to complete the form and enter tonight's keyword, Equitable Building. Here's Hector Luna, followed by Carpenter, and then the top of the order for the Cardinals. They pick up 4 runs in the bottom of the third, and they lead it 4-1. A broken bat hit to second. Wilson Benjamin is there, and the first man retired.
And it appears that Cardinals are really just the right-handed batters all looking away. And Shield is just really throwing everything away to him.
Had a couple of walks in the first, pitched around that. And a walk to Pujols. Second time he walked him in the third, and Albert came around to score on the Edmonds home run.
Just never know. You know, you got a dream. He signed as a 48th round draft pick with the Atlanta Braves, was traded to San Diego, released by them, and picked up by Boston. Got to the big leagues with Boston and made 21 relief appearances. And then he missed the entire 04 and 05 seasons due to rotator cuff surgery. Pitched in the Independent League. It's on the Atlantic League, not the Northern League, I guess, which is here, but and got signed by the Braves, and here making his first major league start.
A foul tip held on to by McCann, and a strikeout of Carpenter. He's 0 for 2. What's on tap, brought to you by Bud Light. Cardinals coming up. Head to the West Coast. Brad Penny on Friday night against Jeff Suppan, LA native. Our Bud Light What's on Tap, and it's the longest road trip of the season coming up for St. Louis. A real test, Al. You've got the Dodgers, team that the Cardinals handled pretty easily over the weekend, but you know it's always different when you go on the road. Then Colorado, a much improved team this season, and no matter how poorly the Cubs are playing, it's always a tough test, especially at Wrigley.
Cardinals haven't won a game in Chicago this year.
Right.
Either the Cubs or White Sox have they defeated. And the Cubbies lost tonight in the matchup of Hall of Famers as Houston wins 4-2. And Cincy's tied now with the Mets 4-4 in the 6th.
It was Clemens and Maddox with Houston and Chicago. 3-0 pitch to Eckstein.
Maddox had to have pitched pretty well in that ball game, but he has fallen on hard times, hasn't he, after a 5-0 start?
5-0, and I think now he has since then gone 2-11. Roger Clemens did get the win in that game.
That's his first of the year. No, I guess second.
That's a second.
2-3. Maddox now 7-11.
Swing and a miss as Eckstein was ahead in the count 3-0. Shield comes back and gets him and strikes him out. He strikes out 2 in the inning. Played baseball tonight?
No, not at all. I thought Bill Finley's crew did an excellent job. You know, what complicated matters was the home plate area where the tarp had ripped and created what a quagmire at home plate, but they did a great job to have us playing baseball.
That was on the other side of the plate where the Roche stands, right-handed side. That was unbelievable. The winds just tore the tarp right up, right in half.
I don't know if you were doing the pregame shows, so you really couldn't see as we looked to the north downtown and saw how dark it was.
We had no idea.
Oh, we knew that there was a tremendous storm that way, but we were shocked when we found out that it came from the north and just traveling south. That's after probably a half hour working, or good 20 minutes of working on that to try and get all the mud they could before they ever put the drying agent down.
2-2 pitch to LaRoche. Swing and a miss and a strikeout for Carpenter. His 4th of the night. Another area that was, looked to be very muddy, at least, was out near the 400 sign behind Edmonds and center on the track. A lot of water out there.
Right. See that ball just running away from LaRoche for the strikeout of Carpenter. Out there in center field, that was really, really wet, but they don't worry about that too much.
Carpenter will take it for out number 2.
And these fields now are, it's amazing the way they lay it down, and with the technology of the turf and long root system where they can build these stadiums with a drainage system where it'll take about 10 inches of rain.
Bill Finley was telling me for the season, as they laid down this turf, he thought that this would be the best field in the majors as far as drainage. He said there's no way of knowing until we certainly get a huge rainstorm coming through and it piles on, but he got a test tonight.
Yeah.
And here we are playing.
Well, for many, many years, the Cardinals resisted taking up the artificial surface because they knew their fans travel from many, many states and come here, and they just did not want to have the inconvenience of their fans knowing that rain out or something like that. So once they came up with the technology of the long root system and the sand-based fields where they could guarantee fans that even if it rained, there'd still be baseball, is when they went to the grass fields.
This is Langerhans, who's the pinch hitter, and he strikes out. Tailing action on that pitch from Carpenter. 2 in the inning, 5 in the game. Albert is coming up. He's due up second. With you, Kevin Barry is the new pitcher for the Braves, a right-hander. And our call to the bullpen is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers. It'll be Duncan, Pujols, and Roland for the Cardinals, and St. Louis has a lead of 4-1. Barry, a guy that's worked as a starter and now as a reliever, just was called up within the last couple of weeks from Richmond, their AAA affiliate.
That's right. He made his major league debut on June 26th. Was called up on June 25th and optioned back on the 30th and recalled on July the 2nd. Started his career with 9 scoreless innings over his first 3 appearances before Friday's 3-run home run.
And one of the things I've noticed with Chris Duncan is trying to take the ball the other way.
Well, I think that Chris is really getting a good education up here, and he's starting to understand that there's a lot of hits to the opposite field. You know, he's very aggressive. He doesn't stand around. He doesn't waste too many fastballs where he's hacking at those. But he's starting to learn that if there's a ball outside, he can take it out there, and most people think he's going to try and pull it.
Got a 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cardinals picked up a 3-run homer from Edmonds back in the 3rd. And all 4 of their runs in that inning. 2-2 pitch.
And Dan, I talked about it a little bit last night with Joe, but this is a perfect spot for Tony to try to protect Duncan batting in the 2nd spot ahead of Pujols. You know, he's also fits that dangerous role with his power.
In this spot in the lineup, Tony La Russa covets 1 a bat from the left side, and if you get some power, it's a bonus. They've tried Edmonds there last year. They've tried Walker. And just trying to figure out somebody to hit in front of Albert Pujols, and you would figure that's the most coveted spot in baseball.
Well, Tony knows that, you know, most people are going to make sure they don't walk the man ahead of Albert, exactly what Barry did.
And Pujols hits it through the right side. Duncan on his way to second. He'll stop there with the great throwing arm of Frank Corin right.
There was a good piece of hitting by Albert because he surveyed the land and saw that the second baseman was playing behind the bag, so nobody over there had normal second base step. You don't even see the second baseman come into the pitcher. So he just saw an easy base hit. If he hit the ball the right side, why not do it?
So Pujols on for the 3rd time, 2 walks in that single. And it brings in Scott Rowland, who has an RBI and a walk. 60 RBIs now in the season for Rowland. Pretty good bounce back year. Coming into this season, people were so unsure as to what type of player Scott Rowland would be. And would he hit for power? Would he be able to play every day? And he's starting to hit for more power, and he has played every day from the get-go.
I think I hated to think about it, but it was fair with the serious shoulder surgery to think about, well, we don't know what we'll have until maybe June. And so he surprised everyone how good he felt in spring training and took it right into the season. His offense has been there all the way through. But as you said, a lot of doubles. He's got 30 of those, but now he's starting to drive and hit the ball out of the ballpark.
1-1 is hit up the middle. That's a base hit. They're going to wave in Duncan. He will score easily, and it's 5-1 Cardinals on the RBI, 2nd of the night for Scott Rowland.
Nice to see a little more life in that dugout, and that all happens with good pitching.
Last night it was Jim Edmonds, and he did it again tonight. Home runs this season 96, and Suntrip will donate $100 for every Cardinal home run to the Win One for the Kids Charity Fund. And thanks to Suntrip, Edmonds with a couple of back-to-back nights. And speaking of picking it up, the power numbers, that's been Edmonds. 14 now on the season.
And 55 RBIs, so got a couple more sitting out there.
Homered on the first pitch that he saw. 2 balls and no strikes, and Barry's still trying to get his first out. Selected by the Braves in the 14th round in 2001. A 5-1 lead, and the way that Edmonds is swinging the bat, let him swing away on 3-0.
Just ask a veteran hitter to be disciplined enough to look for a pitch. Even if it's a strike and it's not your pitch, let it go.
He was swinging away and just got a piece and fouled it back. The
That
count is 3 balls and a strike.
fastball up, out over the plate. I think he asked to see if it was a strike, but you know, Jim, ball up, he's going to be hacking.
ball 4, and the base is loaded now for Encarnacion. The first 4 against Barry have reached. It's turning into a long night for Roger McDowell, the pitching coach for the Braves. Encarnacion on the night is 1 for 2 with a single back in the 3rd. And he owns 3 grand slams in his career. He could really put this game out of reach. I know we're only in the 5th, but Carpenter on the mound, already a 5-1 lead. They feel pretty good about that.
Playing the infield in.
Explain that one to me.
I know Tony has done a lot of squeeze plays and everything like this. Encarnacion has a little bit of a tender wrist, but I don't think we're thinking of the squeeze in this situation.
Encarnacion off the end of the bat out to shallow left field. Thorman will make the catch. Pujols is going to tag up and score. And it's 6-1. You got to figure they know his arm from scout. And watching the tapes, I mean, that's awfully aggressive to see Pujols tag up on this shallow fly ball.
See him just really jerk the throw and it's offline, but you know Albert Pujols, he's obsessed with scoring and he's closing in on something. He's very close to scoring 700 runs in his young career. He's already got 700 RBI, more than 700 RBIs, but 700 runs in a very short period. And with that 15 games, he's not amongst the league leaders in runs scored. But Albert's still trying to become the first player in Major League history to lead the league in runs scored for 4 consecutive years. No one's ever done it.
And again, Barry falls behind. 2 balls, no strikes on Molina. 7, 8, and 9 in the order for the Cardinals, the only ones that have not joined in the fun. Collectively 0 for 6. It's going to be a late night for the Atlanta Braves as they head to Philadelphia. Cardinals will travel to Los Angeles tomorrow afternoon. Runners are going. The 2-1 pitch.
No chance.
Is taken for a ball. It's now 3-1, and that was stolen off of Barry. Didn't seem to me, Al, that he even looked at the runners.
No, he didn't. He didn't look at the runners, and it's a tough call for the runner at first base, the trail runner, because he's got to watch the lead of Scott Rowland, and you saw that. Scott even thought maybe for a second that, I left too soon, but pitch was being made. McCann had no shot at either runner.
Infield back in, and that's ball 4. New Busch Stadium commemorative yearbook is going to press now, and it's the must-have souvenir that tells the story of the building of the new Busch.
And it's a steal.
300 pages and hundreds of photos. Beautiful publication. A steal, according to the promo, and Al, at only $20. You must have heard that.
Read it yesterday.
Somewhere with Joe, or you read it?
I read it yesterday. Roger McDowell out to talk to Barry, who's walked 3 in this inning. The only man who's retired was the sac fly off the bat of Encarnacion. And Luna, who has an electric bat.
Well, we've had some tight games in this series, haven't we?
Chad Pronto in the bullpen. I don't think they're going to bring the infield in this time, but I wouldn't either.
Cardinals with 4 runs in the 3rd, 2 more here in the 5th, and Luna shoots 1 foul. We're approaching 11 o'clock here in St. Louis, and still a pretty decent crowd on hand. That's amazing. And Luna is hit by the pitch. That's an RBI. Makes it 7-1. And the struggles continue for Barry, but for how much longer? RBI number 19 for Luna as Roland scores.
Barry Weinberg go out and check Luna, and he's kind of trying to shake him off. But Barry's asked where he was hit. Up behind the shoulder blade, or Pronto, who a couple years ago was with Memphis.
There's a base hit for Carpenter. He adds to the lead. That makes it 8-1. His second RBI. Wasn't the other one on opening day?
Opening day, I think it was first at bat, maybe even. So turnaround is fair play as the Cardinals are having a little fun right now. And a tough night for Barry, but it's through. Bobby Cox seen enough.
3 hits, 3 walks. He hit a man and a rough night. 8-1 St. Louis. Long night here at the ballpark. Well worth it for the Cardinals and their fans. They lead it 8-1 here in the 5th. Chad Paranto will take over. This will be his 34th appearance. No record ERA of an even 3. And our call to the bullpen is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers. Bases loaded now for Eckstein, who is 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. Shield was the starter tonight for the Braves. He goes 4 innings, 4 runs allowed on 4 hits. He walked 3 but struck out 6 in his 4 innings. Big blow off the bat of Edmonds, a 3-run homer. Cardinals have added 4 more, and it's 8-1. Seeing a lot of that from Eckstein.
A lot more swing and misses or foul tips, as you see. 4 grand slams for David.
Very memorable one a year ago against Atlanta. Sunday walk-off home run. That was at the Old Bush. He pulls it foul, 0-2. Eckstein, the 9th man to bat in this inning.
Shields, the starter for Atlanta, was the 10th starter employed this year. And they've used a whole bunch of pitchers throughout the course of the year. And Pronto was another one that was recalled in May, early May, from Richmond.
0-2 to Eckstein is inside. Now, there's no doubt that Atlanta is now back in the thick of things for the wild card. And certainly they have probably shifted their focus from being sellers to buyers, and they need to improve their bullpen, in particular trying to find anybody to close games out.
Yeah, there's no doubt that they're not going to be in a selling mood.
Little chopper and
Foul ball.
Foul ball.
And remember when we were in Atlanta, Bobby Cox was telling me that because of so many of their young talented players and the fact that they think they've got Mike Hampton back, Smoltz they've got they think Hudson, and if he pitches like he did last night, he's going to win his fair share of games. But they also think there's a pretty good chance where they may get Tom Glavine back next year. So they really were not even thinking of selling then. They were thinking in terms of they got to keep the nucleus here for next year and make another run at it.
The biggest name, of course, Smoltz to Detroit. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen now.
No.
3rd time that Eckstein has struck out.
Boy, you just don't see that from David Eckstein. You're talking about how rare it is to see him strike out twice, let alone 3 times in 5 innings.
Very well could stem from his concussion suffered at Pittsburgh a little over a month ago. Here's Duncan. A couple runs scored. He's 1 for 2 on the night. Bases loaded. 2 outs now.
This could be a good matchup for Chris. Now, Prano is like the way he throws, but he doesn't really seem like he has that off-speed pitch to keep Chris off balance. And Chris very aggressive with fastballs.
The guy that was closing games out for Atlanta was Rietzman. They tried him last year and again this year, and it just didn't work out.
And now he's out for the year. Then Sosa. And a lot of people believe, and watched the game on Monday, and you saw Bobby Cox go out there and really lecture his relief pitcher that he's not long for staying here.
2-0 is popped up. Shallow left, the shortstop Renteria, and he's going to make the catch. Cardinals strand, the bases loaded. But it has been a busy home plate tonight for the home team. 8 runs, 4 in the third, 4 more in the fifth. All St. Louis, it's 8-1.
No, it's not.
Al, it's 11 right now.
Well, I've been told by our producer, Mike Elling, that there will be no delay.
I like Mike's thinking.
I guess at 11:30, 11:29, we're walking off, right?
We're out of here.
We're out of here. We'll just give everybody their own treat. No announcers.
There you go. Curveball of beauty by Carpenter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Betterman has singled and scored back in the first. The only run tonight for Atlanta. The RBI by Andrew Jones, his 88th. He struck out in the third.
8 for 13 in the series.
They've been waiting for him to arrive. He was the prospect that was the guy in waiting. The next, Andrew Jones, Chipper Jones, one of those type players. Maybe not that good, but still a very, very highly thought of prospect, and it never really panned out. He can play second base, he can play first, he can play third. And they hope he's starting to put it together.
Well, and Giles has been out for an extended period of time with a swollen thumb. He injured it sliding into the third base bag. 6 strikeouts for Carpenter now. But some people say that Marcus Giles could be available. Trying to get some relief pitching. You see that little cutter right down, and he went right over the top of it.
Wonder how many jerseys Carpenter's gone through tonight so far. Last start was Friday through the late game 2 hitter. He went for 3 of them. It's 81 degrees as we started our play tonight. After the long delay, Eckstein retires Renteria. When he's on, Al, he is just about unhittable.
Just so much fun to watch. He's a great competitor. He's got 4 out pitches. He attacks hitters. He doesn't give an inch. And he's just, said in the first inning when he was a little upset when Andrew Jones got a base hit and beat the defensive alignment with a ground ball towards the normal shortstop hole. A guy like Carpenter uses that to motivate him. He gets upset, but he uses that extra adrenaline and channels it to get hitters out.
Didn't see much of Chipper in the first series against St. Louis. He was out with a foot injury.
I was trying to tell him tonight that that foot was bothering him again.
Get him
before
out of
the
there.
game. No. I said, oh, Chipper, you really hit well since you've come back.
2-0 is hit out to right for a base hit.
Extended his hitting streak to 19 games earlier, but I mean, he's had, I think, 15 of those 19 have been multi-hit games.
Snaps a string of 8 straight by Carpenter. And Chipper is 2 for 3, and it brings in Andrew Jones.
McBride now warming up in the bullpen for the Braves.
One of the reasons that you believe Atlanta could get back in the race is because of the Joneses and some of the young players that got a little taste of postseason play a year ago. They went through 16 rookies last season.
And I mean, they've got a solid offense. It's interesting, the Dodgers still lead the National League in batting. Then the Cardinals are second with the Atlanta Braves right behind them.
Pujols did in his at bat with that wide open right side. He just took it to right. See if Jones will try to do that.
That would be the pitch right there to do so.
Why would they pitch him then outside? I mean, if you got a guy that is what you like to call a professional hitter, being able to go to all fields, but we did show the hits by direction, only 5. You know, that's the kind of pitch you just take to right.
He's trying to launch.
Yep. Pujols with room. He'll make the play. Albert leads it off when we come back. A look at tonight's hot pitch of the game. It's brought to you by Hardy's. Carpenter to Mr. Wilson Betterman, and he struck him out. 6 on the night for the Cardinal right-hander, and the Cardinals lead at 8-1. 3, 4, and 5 in the order coming up for Tony La Russa's club. Macy McBride will take over, lefty for the Atlanta Braves. Record of 1-1, ERA just over 5. The first man he faces, Albert Pujols, who's been on base 3 times.
Good luck. A couple walks and a base hit.
McBride was selected by the Braves in the first round, 24th overall back in 2001. Appeared in 23 games a season ago with the Braves. First in the major leagues. Makes the play, and that's the first out.
And fields his position.
John Hewlett just announced that Metrolink is down. Make it even a little bit harder for these folks that have stuck around to get back home.
You know, a lot of people may park at one of the secondary lots and take the Metrolink in. You run a taxi service tonight?
Why not? We're here. 1 ball, 1 strike. 43,991 our attendance tonight. Brian Bartow tells us that. Director of Media Relations. He was all over the place on the local newscast tonight, giving his reports from Busch Stadium. Renteria, 2 outs. Brings in Edmonds. He has a big blow in this game, a 3-run homer. 4 runs in the 3rd, 4 more in the 5th. Cardinals lead at 8-1. Started out as a wind and dust storm because of the ballpark village, but then turned into a hard drive and the rain mixed in with the winds, and Chris Carpenter had to basically stay back and hold back warm-up tosses and whatnot. Delay of 2 hours and 12 minutes. First pitch at 9:22.
Last time he pitched 5 innings against the Braves, and then we endured that 2-hour and 55-minute rain delay on July the 4th down at Dixie.
At that point, no need to bring him back.
No. After pitching 5, or this time he just warmed up, but he was about a minute away from making his first pitch, but never got that opportunity until 9:22.
Edmonds stays alive.
Another one of the Georgia-born Atlanta Braves.
Augusta, Georgia. Rancour from that area. McCann is from that area.
Says he likes to hunt, fish, and golf. He's got a good golf course if he can get on it.
Good luck. That one caught McCann. plate umpire will give McCann a little time. Make sure he's all right. Edmonds will do the same. One ball, 2 strikes on Jim Edmonds. He swings and misses. Joe returns from the radio side when we come back. Brian Bartow, a busy man tonight, up in the press box for the Cardinals. St. Louis on top, 8-1.
Corral's pitch-by-pitch feature brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
Well, McBride got a curveball over for strike 1 against Jim. Then he starts a succession of fastballs. See everything down in the zone there. He got an off-speed pitch again, just foiled a good pitch. Then he fouls that one into the catcher, and then a fastball upstairs. He pulled off of it and strikes him out. Talking about strikeouts, that's what Carpenter has. He has 6 on the night. He's only given up 4 hits. They scored their lone run in the first inning. The only inning they had multiple hits.
So here is Chris back out there in the 7th inning, and this has been, you want to talk about a long night. Here is a long drive into right off the bat of Brian McCann and into the seats for the 2nd run of the night for Atlanta. It's 8-2. I just started to say, for a guy who had to give 2 full warm-up sessions out in the Cardinal bullpen before he came on to work here tonight, it has been a long evening for Chris, and you wonder how much more he's going to give the Cardinals tonight as McCann circles the bases and hits home run number 11 on the season.
All right, he's shown some power in games against the Cardinals. That's the 16th home run that Atlanta's hit against Cardinal pitching. Is it 17? Nope.
That ball looked like it might have a chance and then falls way short out and left off the bat of Jeff Francoeur, 1 out.
Brian McCann just jumps all over this first high delivery out over the plate and got a changeup that was up. Bad location on it. There you see the grip. And that ideally you want down and away. It started moving a little bit, but it moved a lot quicker off the bat.
Bat boy fell asleep down there for Atlanta. At the plate now is Adam LaRoche. He got up to dig his way in, and there was a bat laying there at his feet. So he picked it up and fired it back toward the on-deck circle. And the bat boy, who was taking a little breather. It's been a long night for the bat boy out.
Might be past his bedtime, you know.
Here's a 1-0. Who is Darren Baker? It would be.
Yes.
3-year-old son of Dusty Baker, who was made famous in the World Series back in 2002. Here's a ground ball to the right side. Easy for Albert. 2 down. Well, we asked you the question early, and our singular wireless text message question was, how long will Chris Carpenter last in tonight's game? You, the viewing and voting public, picked 7 innings, and you may be right on. Only 73 pitches to get to this point. I wonder if they'll run him back out there for the 8th or not. After giving up the leadoff home run, he's taking care of the next 2. Singular wireless is raising the bar, and the pitch is up and away to the left-handed hitting Thorman, and the count evens at 1-1.
You know, that's Tony's ultimate decision, but I think in many cases with this nice lead and a lot of season left, might be better just to say 7 innings is an outstanding job, which it is at any time, but under tonight's conditions, even better.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on. And McCann, or rather Thorman, hits it back to Carpenter, who makes a nice play and flips underhand for the out. Leadoff home run by McCann makes it 8-2 as it's time to stretch here at Busch. Lead it 8-2, bottom of the 7th inning. That means Steve Miller gets his chance. He's today's merchandise winner in the Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. The Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th. Steve Miller qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Here's Encarnacion, who had a sac fly his last time up. Singled the time before that, and against McBride takes a strike. With action starting for the Cardinals out in their bullpen.
It's like Wainwright.
Wainwright, because of his delivery and the size of his body, is one of those guys that you can figure out who it is without even looking at his number.
Right. And Looper, similar in size, but two different deliveries.
Here's a 1-1. And Encarnacion fouls it off to the right. Strike two. McBride had a perfect sixth.
Yeah. Toronto came in, got the 2 men, and then McBride comes in and erases the first 3 he faces. So
Encarnacion takes it in the dirt. 2-2. A lot of finals around baseball, even some games starting out west are approaching finals as Encarnacion hits it foul, and it's still 2-2. The Mets and Reds are tied 4-4 in the bottom of the 8th inning in Cincinnati. They had a rain delay there.
it's like they have started solving some of their bullpen problems, the Reds.
2-2 pitch is hit down the third baseline. It's going to stay fair for a hit. Encarnacion has his second hit of the night, and that one went about 45 feet.
Swinging bunt, and see, he didn't get out of the box, but ball didn't deviate. If anything, it moved a little bit closer to the infield grass. Todd Pratt now catching as McCann hit that bomb, and then he fouled that ball off him, and they got him out of there after he hit a home run.
Here's a pitch low to Yadier Molina, ball 1. On at first is Encarnacion, nobody out. Cardinals leading by 6, and Wainwright getting loose in the bullpen. Wainwright worked 1 inning last night. Molina out in front of it, hooks it foul down the left field line. 1 ball, 1 strike. Molina looking down in that area where that foul ball was hit. And somebody was hit by that foul off Yadier's bat. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 on, nobody out. McBride deals, and Molina grounds another one toward Oquendo. 1-2. Cardinals hang on. They will exit this game 53-41. 12 games over. Tony La Russa has that 20 games over the 500 mark as his wish. That one squirts away, but not far enough for Encarnacion to advance.
They usually go in increments of 5, but the reason he says 20 is because at one time their season high was 16.
As it is, the Cardinals' record of 52-41 is good enough for a 3.5 game lead over Cincinnati, and the Reds have taken a 2-run lead at home over the Mets in the 8th. Here's a ground ball to short. Nice play. Renteria, Benevit, double play. 6-4-3. Nicely turned by the middle infielders of the Braves. Cardinal fans, the Cup Series is coming up, and the AT&T Summer Series is here to celebrate the rivalry. Visit att.stlcardinals.com to learn how the new AT&T is delivering the epic battle to you like never before. New AT&T, your world delivered. 2 out, nobody on. Luna, who was hit by a pitch his last time up, takes the ball low.
Painful, but the RBI helped a little bit, easing it.
Bases were loaded, so he forced home a run, gives him 19 RBIs. 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris Carpenter, I guess the jury is still out right now as to whether he's going back out there or not.
I think it's over, especially now as I look down and I see Spezio. at the on-deck circle, which is removed. And Wainwright continuing to throw. But he did his job. Outstanding 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. One home run allowed. Didn't walk a man. Strikes out 6.
1 and 2 on Luna with 2 out, nobody on. That is wide. 2 and 2. We've said it many times. Doesn't matter how long the night is going or what the score is. The home plate umpire is there to do his job, and on these pitches that are just off the plate, Rapuano is not out there just to make this game go faster. 2-2 pitch is in the dirt, full count. McBride has faced 5 in his inning and 2/3. Came in with an ERA over 5. He deals low, and a 2-out walk will bring Spezio to the plate, and that is for sure the end of the night for Chris Carpenter, who will end going 7, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits. And doing exactly what we talked about coming in tonight. He struck out 6, walked nobody, and he played the role of the ace and the stopper in the rotation tonight.
Absolutely. How many wins would he have with a little bit of run support? He has the lowest amount of run support by the Cardinal starters.
Spezio takes a ball.
And an interesting stat for his ERA is the lowest. Home ERA is the best in the major leagues. He has 6 no decisions. His ERA is 1.76.
There's a strike on the inside corner. In his last 2 starts, he's now pitched 16 innings. Allowed a total of 2 runs on 7 hits against the Dodgers, and doing what he's done tonight against this Braves lineup, the way they've been hitting the ball, is no small feat. They came in the first team since the 1930 New York Yankees to go 5 straight games with 10 or more runs, and tonight 2 runs on 5 hits through 7 innings. Here's a 2-1. A strike. You can say that he's only thrown 77 pitches in tonight's game, but you have to take into account having 2 full bullpen sessions to get loose with a 2-hour and 12-minute delay in between those bullpen sessions. And if this bullpen's not good enough to hang on to an 8-2 lead, then it doesn't much matter what Carpenter does the rest of the year anyway. Spezio pops it up on the infield for Renteria, and that'll do it for the first 7 innings tonight. Great work by Chris Carpenter. A long night gives way to Adam Wainwright. 8th inning, 8-2 St. Louis. Adam Wainwright has been getting better and better and better, and the development for Wainwright has been fun to watch. And the development, Al, next year will culminate with him stepping into the Cardinals starting rotation.
You know he can handle this role. It still remains to be seen if he can be a big league starter. You'd like to think he, and I really, applaud Tony and Dave Duncan for taking this conservative approach. And there's been a lot of very, very good starters that took a year or even a year and plus out of the bullpen before they went into the rotation and did the job.
Pete Orr is going to come off the bench and bat, start this inning, the 8th. He takes a pitch down and in ball 1. Whereas early in the year, really the first 2 months, Adam Wainwright was not going to pitch in back-to-back days. Here he is facing the Braves again and dealing to Orr, who fouls it after working an inning last night. The count evens here, 1 ball, 1 strike. Not only have they been patient with not putting him in the rotation where there's been a void, keeping him in the bullpen, but they've been very patient and done him a great service by handling him the way they've handled him and not burned him out here at the beginning of his big league career by working him night after night after night when he's about as dependable an arm as the Cardinals have down in their pen.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real temptation that you want to go to, but then you can, as you said, you can hurt him, you can burn him out, but he has gained so much confidence being used the way he has that I think now they feel that he can handle anything next year. But he is definitely a force from this point forward, and he has been all season coming out of the bullpen.
And really, when you project ahead for the postseason, if the Cardinals make it, he will be a big part of that bullpen. Looper's been getting better, and you've got two guys that can really do the job in the late innings to try and get the ball into the hands of Isringhausen. 0-2 on Betterman here on a good pitch down and in.
It probably wouldn't hurt Izzy to get another inning, as he pitched Monday in a lopsided game because he needed work.
The wrong way lopsided.
Right.
And 0-2 to Betterman. And good pitches by Wainwright to fool this hitter who's been hot in the series. Wilson Betterman strikes out, 2 down in the 8th.
Other things that Wainwright has done at times when it's not close games, he has really utilized all of his pitches. All season long, that curveball's been a great weapon, but he's incorporated a slider into his resume and also the changeup.
You know what I like watching him throw that curveball is that it's so fluid, and he finishes that pitch so well that you feel like, well, guys who try to snap it off and stop their arm from coming forward, you could do a lot of damage to that elbow. His just is from top to bottom all the way through, and the ball just rolls out of his fingertips. Here's Renteria with a fly ball to center. How about that for a quick and easy 8th inning from Adam Wainwright? Renteria hitless on the night. Bottom of the 8th. Cardinals bat up. Here is today's Jack in the Box game recap. To recap the first 2 hours, a ton of rain and a lot of wind, as you know. And then Chris Carpenter took over and did his thing. He's in line for the victory. 8-2 as we go into the bottom of the 8th inning. Jim Edmonds with a 3-run shot. They took a 1-1 game, made it 4-1, and 4 more runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the Cardinals are enjoying this one as they are on their way to avoiding a 3-game sweep. Top of the order will bat against Oscar Villarreal. He's working for the 2nd game in a row as he takes over with an 8-1 record.
That home run by Jim Edmonds gives the Cardinals a season-high 16 straight games and 25 home runs during that time that they have homered. That surprise you?
Yes. Pete Orr stays in the game. He's at second base. Renteria is out of the game, and Betterman moves over to short as Eckstein takes a strike. Eckstein, then Duncan, then Pujols against Villarreal. One ball, one strike.
It's the last time David has struck out 3 times.
It's happened one other time. I don't know the
In
date.
history?
Don't ask.
I mean,
As a Cardinal. Here's a pitch up from Villarreal. It's 2-1.
Dan and I have made an observation, whether it's correct or not. It just seems like his strikeout total has really mounted since he had that concussion.
2-1. Up and in, 3-1. Still, when you consider what he's doing out of that leadoff spot, hitting .312, getting on base, he's driven in 19. He's trying to set the table for Pujols. And he flies one into center field here for Andrew Jones. 1 out. We have seen Andrew Jones use that method of catching the routine fly ball and miss it, but it has not stopped him from doing it.
I don't know if you remember a game in Chicago where Andy Van Slyke was playing center field, and Bob Porsche always warned him. You know, he would snap at the ball. He said, "You can do that. If you ever miss one, you're in trouble." And he missed a ball like doing that, trying to, style points. And when he came in, Bob Porsche was at the top step, and he just let him have it.
0-1 to count on Duncan. Chris has had a nice night. He has singled and scored. walked and scored. Something, when I was over on the radio side, you've seen a lot more of Chris Duncan than I have on the field. He is not a liability on the base paths. He doesn't have great speed, but he is not somebody who clogs the bases. He got from second to home and scored without a throw from Andrew Jones on a base hit by Pujols back in the fifth and made it look easy.
I mean, his whole total game is improving on a daily basis. No longer is he a defensive liability in the outfield. He's feeling more and more comfortable out there. Hitting the second spot, you're really kind of seeing a lot of fastballs where he's
pull hitter, pulls it to the right side. LaRoche picks it up and goes to the bag. 2 out. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Busch. Smooth Busch beer and easy drinking. Busch Light. By Chevrolet. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer today. Chevy, an American revolution. And by Advance Auto. We're ready in advance. 2 out and nobody on. Albert Pujols steps in. Albert has walked twice, singled, scored twice. Had a hit taken away by McBride his last time up. He takes ball 1.
Pujols now is tied for 5th in the National League with 70 runs scored. Where would he have been without losing those 15 games to injury?
And not just not being there for the 15 games, but the way he was swinging the bat.
Right.
He was on the best tear we've seen him at the start of the season, putting together a gargantuan first half, and then that stopped everything. Gets under this one and pops it up. Villarreal comes in and has a 1-2-3 inning. And we go into the ninth. Braves bat, last chance for Atlanta. Braden Looper is getting loose, and the Cardinals lead by 6. It's Braden Looper taking over for the Cardinals in the ninth inning with the heart of the lineup, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, and then Todd Pratt to the plate. And Braden Looper gets the ball here in the ninth inning. Isringhausen, if he's going to get his work in, it looks like he's going to get it in on the side as he loosens up out in the Cardinal bullpen.
They may have asked him, as Randy Flores is out there throwing 2 with the off day tomorrow, would you want to get an inning on the mound or just throw on the side?
Braden Looper will go at 2 of the hottest hitters in baseball, Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones. Chipper is 2 out of 3, and he has a 19-game hitting streak, alive and well. Takes a ball up and away, and off we go in the ninth.
First time I saw Chipper, who was the #1 pick in the country, he was a shortstop, and saw him at the Sally League All-Star game.
There's a strike, 1-1.
Remember Jim Baines?
Sure.
Jim Baines was traveling secretary for the Cardinals during part of my tenure, but was general manager of the Cardinal affiliate in Savannah, Georgia, and they were the host city for the Sally League All-Star game, and I went for the luncheon and spoke, and saw Chipper play that night.
Again, a shortstop coming up through the Braves system. That's a strike on the outside corner, 2-2. Do you know then what year he was the #1 overall pick?
Oh, sure, 1990.
Well, you're amazing. 2-2 pitch. There's strike 3, and Chipper Jones didn't look like he wanted much to do with that at bat. He started to walk away before Rapuano rung him up, 1 down. Andrew Jones will step in. Carpenter 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits. 6 strikeouts, no walks. He was terrific. A perfect inning from Wainwright. And now with an exaggerated shift on the left side of the infield for Andrew Jones, he swings at the first pitch and fouls it out of play.
But you can see, Andrew's still just trying to launch the ball. He's got base hits written all over the right side of the infield, but yet he's going to sit there. They're pitching him away, and he's pulling off him.
Have I just paid no attention to this point in the series? They did this the last time he was up with this shift on the infield, but I don't remember them doing this earlier in the series.
See, instead of just trying to guide the ball, they're pitching him away, and he is just letting it fly. Pulled off a pitch last time and popped up in foul territory to Pujols. Chicks dig the long ball. You know, he hit 51 last year.
I've heard that. That was Braves' record. Led the league. Career high. He also, with his 51 home runs, drove in 128, which was his best total. That's high, 2-2. The 29-year-old takes inside, full count.
From Curacao, beautiful little island down in the Caribbean, and speaks about, asked him one time, let's see, 5 or 6 different languages.
That is inside, a 1-out walk from Braden Looper. Gives us a chance to give you our play of the game. It's brought to you by Budweiser in a 1-1 game with the Cardinals desperately needing something big. Jim Edmonds delivered way back in the 3rd inning. 3-run shot. Second home run in as many nights, and for the year, home run number 14.
6 of them in July.
1 on, 1 out, and a pitch is over but low to Todd Pratt. Pretty good pitch. Looper didn't get the call.
Pretty good guy to have as a backup catcher, isn't he?
Absolutely. Tough guy and somebody who has seen a lot over the years. Bites that one off, fouls it, and on top of that, he's not just a guy to come in and catch some innings and catch day games after night games. He's come up with some big hits in his career.
Yes.
Won a divisional series game against the Arizona Diamondbacks while with the Mets years ago. That is up the middle. A hit for Todd Pratt. It's 2 on with 1 out here in the 9th. Let's not have any excitement, please. 8-2, 6-run lead, and Frank Coor will step in. That was the year 2000 when the Mets ended up in the World Series against the New York Yankees.
Tony might have just asked, since Flores has been throwing, to see if he is ready for LaRoche if the game gets extended. And Tony really hoping for a ground ball double play.
Frank Coor is the man. 2 on, 1 out. And a good fastball from Looper, strike 1. Put it anywhere close on pitch 1, and Frank Coor will take a swipe.
And once you get that strike 1, start pitching off the plate.
0-2. Cincinnati won tonight. The Houston Astros won tonight. Cardinals trying to win tonight. Be still a 3.5 game lead over the Reds at the end of the evening, and the Braves would be 5 behind Cincinnati in the wild card race. 0-2 pitch. Ball 1. Now Isringhausen is getting loose again. One-two pitch. Boy, he takes a rip.
He does. He just came on the scene last year and just sensation. Got off to a slow start this year, but hitting about almost 290 since an early drought.
One-two pitch is grounded through the left side. That'll load the bases with only 1 down here in the inning. Gonzalez, the third base coach, held Andrew Jones. It probably did nothing more than just take an RBI away from Frank Coor, as Chris Duncan was willing to throw it back in towards second, and Here we are, a 6-run lead, and the bases loaded, 1 out. The Braves are right back in it.
Out over the plate. It's not a save situation, so they'll bring in the left-hander Flores.
One is being created, however.
Yes.
Flores will pitch to LaRoche with the bases loaded and 1 down here in the ninth. Well, this is too interesting. A walk, back-to-back singles, a 6-run lead. Bases are loaded with 1 out, and Randy Flores will pitch to Adam LaRoche. And we're not too far away from a save situation with Isringhausen getting loose for the Cardinals out in their bullpen.
1 batter.
And Looper is left to hang his head in the Cardinal dugout.
Or should I say 1 runner? Randy got beat up on Monday, but he's absolutely thrilled to get a chance to come out here and atone for it. And LaRoche, 2 for 2.
So Flores gets him, meaning he gets to face him with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Matt Diaz is at the on-deck circle, pinch hit.
First pitch strike from Flores. Some concern about the elbow of Randy Flores, which he has worked his way through. That's strike 2.
Randy had bone chip removed in the off-season, so feeling some discomfort. Get a little bit alarmed, but found no structural damage and got the okay to throw on Monday after a couple days off. Didn't work out for him, but he's going to contribute.
And he has LaRoche reaching. Is that going to end it? Luna, Eckstein, throw to first, safe, and the game continues. In to score is Andrew Jones, and it's 8-3, but Randy Flores comes in and gets a big out. Force out 4-6, just not hit hard enough, and an RBI for LaRoche, number 53.
You come in here and you judge a relief pitcher. You need a ground ball, and he gets one. Even at times when it goes through and you get a base hit, you know, you still have to give him credit.
Tony La Russa is going to make another pitching change. Flores does his job. His job was to get 1 batter, and now he will give way to Isringhausen. First and third, 2 out, 8-3. Cardinals up by 5 in the ninth. Isringhausen says he is set to go. We are only about 7 minutes away from midnight. In a game that started 2 hours and 12 minutes after it was supposed to. But none of that matters if the Cardinals can get 1 more out as they lead 8-3, trying to salvage the finale of this series and stay 3.5 games up on Cincinnati in the NL Central.
This is not a save situation, but let's just put an end to this game. And right now,
Diaz takes strike 1 from Izzy. Off day tomorrow, and then the Cardinals will find themselves in Los Angeles. Start of a long trip, Colorado and Chicago to follow. 10 games. The 0-1. Oh, off the bare hand of Isringhausen. The game is over, and let's hope Izzy is okay. Looks like he's okay.
He's okay.
That'll do it for the night. 8-3 is the final, and we will come back and wrap it up. Cardinals avoid the sweep. Right there, read it and weep, Atlanta. 8-3 is the final tonight behind Chris Carpenter, and Chris did his thing, and the Cardinals had a couple of big frames, maybe the biggest swing of the night by Jim Edmonds, Al Hrabosky.
Well, Jim Edmonds needed that. He gave the Cardinals that 3-run home run, but it was Carpenter was the story.
Carpenter was the story with his 7 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits, struck out 6, walked nobody. Cardinal Baseball is produced by Bud Productions and is an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Our next broadcast, Cardinals and Dodgers, Friday night, 9 o'clock, right here. Midwest Sports Report is coming up as we say so long for just a quick second from Busch Stadium.